at how the weeds behave. Let me call them weeds.
Right.
Our vegetables.
Yes.
Nobody plants them, but their seed lies there. And when it rains, you find now they're sprouting. You know, that's a simple example.
Right. And Dr. Njoki, within your tenure at the Kenya Agriculture and Livestock Research Organization, many researchers, many experts have been doing experimentation as you have been doing. Do you feel like there is a point where these indigenous seeds should be taken up by a lot of farmers to ensure food security?
The only way to solve the food insecurity in our country and in Africa is adapting or going back to our indigenous seeds and also going back to our systems. Right. I'm not saying that we start living in mud houses, but I'm talking about applying technology to the indigenous knowledge. Right. Let me give you a simple example of something called a granary. A granary is the center of an African home. I know you don't know what a granary looks like. I know. But the African home was described as per the size of the granary. Right. Because the granary ensures there is food in that family. There is food in that home. Right now we are having post-harvest losses mounting to over 60%. Go to our markets, you'll find rotting fruits, rotting vegetables, everything rotting. Because we don't have post-harvest storage system. Even if it's there, it is not sound. And for me, I say the storage system should start in the home. The home should be able to preserve its food until the next harvest season. Yes.
And of course.
When we are talking about indigenous knowledge, people assume that we want them to go back to maybe walking on foot, using the djembe like Mr. Joroge, the one we saw in our primary school books. Right. But we have the modern technology which we can apply to our indigenous knowledge for a food secure country. It's doable. And then we do away with these policies that are barring us from, sharing our indigenous seeds. Right. Why should we not share what is working for us? Right. Yeah, and then adapt that which is not working for us. Are we okay?
Yeah, and we're talking about, a very delicate balance between food security and maintaining our heritage, not only as Kenyans, but as Africans as well. Being able to transform some of, the practices that we had using a little bit of technology. Yes. And then maybe we can have food security. Dr. Njoki, before we go for a very short break, about 5 million Kenyans are food insecure. Yeah. The number stood at 4 million last year. Yeah. As the economy changes, you're seeing that a lot more people are becoming food insecure. Yep. Do you feel like if we take up, the granary system as we used to, in comparison to, the modern building systems and, the life that we're the trajectory that we are taking, do you feel like we can have food security? Yes, and we start by identifying our food. Right. That is the first and the foremost thing. Identifying our food, identifying our farming systems. And then now the granary because of the post-harvest storage. Yeah, that way, if every home is able to feed itself, then we cannot talk about not being food secure. Because some of the food, we can correct them. Look at I really would like us to learn, and this is what we are doing in Karo, trying to teach people our systems. Our people knew how to preserve even the meat. Why should we wait for our cows to die because there's a drought? Yet we have a knowledge of how to preserve that meat, and it can go up to 6 years. That's true. Surprisingly, maybe you don't know that the Turkanas were the first people to make powdered milk. Right. Yes, they know how to make powdered milk, but is anybody asking them? So why should our milk be going to waste when we have an abundance, when we can turn it into powder and we preserve it at home level? And that milk can be used, during the drought. Right. Look at our people from the lake. They know how to smoke the fish. And that fish can stay for years, 3 years. I was speaking to some women from Bondo. They were telling me, there's a way they can preserve the meat for up to 3 years. Right. I spoke to some Maasais in Kajiado, and they're telling me, yes, they can preserve the meat for up to 6 years. Right. Yeah, but nobody wants to listen to them. Nobody wants to know where we are coming from.
And my policy or my take is normally very simple, that if we don't know where we are coming from, we cannot know where we are, and we cannot know where we are headed. So we'll keep on talking about food insecurity, but until we look back and look at what we have lost, bring it back, and then apply technology, because technology is there for us, then we can be talking, we can now start talking about being secure. So restoring the granary is fundamental.
And it's very interesting you've spoken about, you know, preserving meat, because Somalis is a very nomadic community. We also preserve our meat. We usually dry it.
Thank you.
And then we store it in its own ghee and fat. And it stays for a very long time. Maybe we should go back to the traditional ways that we used to use for food security in the country. We will have this conversation going on all the way to around 10:30 p.m. We're going to be talking about indigenous food systems, and how that could lead to food security. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.